What's going on here gamers? Today we're back with some more Marvel Midnight Suns. What I'm going to be going over today are my top picks for what I believe are the strongest and best 5 characters in the game. So if you want to know which heroes to pick, then stay tuned. That's coming up next. Welcome back everybody. Today we're jumping into a little bit more Marvel Midnight Suns and we're going to be looking at what I think are probably the strongest 5 characters currently in the game. Now as always, if this helps you out, a like would be super appreciated, and if you'd like to become a member of the channel for all the latest gaming content, then why not hit that subscribe and bell icon. But for now we're going to be looking at some heroes that can slot into a lot of teams, have a lot of amazing cards and abilities, and are probably the most powerful ones in the game currently. So jumping straight in at number 5, and this one was actually probably the toughest out of all of them to place, and that's going to be the Hulk. The Hulk is known as the strongest there is, and I really would have loved to put him higher than this, because if the cards come out in the right order, he really can be. If you manage to get the Hulk's challenge in Raw and is always angry twice in a row, especially if you've got 2 lots of them, this guy right here is an absolute monster. The fact that he gains more damage the more rage he gets makes him, when maxed out, the most powerful hero around. And his health can quite easily exceed 3000, and he will do more damage than pretty much anyone in your team, especially because of his counter attacks. Hulk has the best counter attack for damage in the game. Also, his World Breaker is second to none for clearing absolutely everything on the board. It does a massive amount of damage and it's a lot of fun to watch, as you can see here. If you want to take out all the small ads, all of the medium ads, and sometimes take out some of the bosses as well, then Hulk's legendary card World Breaker will allow you to do that. But don't think he's a one-trick pony, because his Seismic Slam also does a massive amount of AoE damage. Hulk has a lot going on in his kit that can make him the strongest there is. But if you don't get those 2 cards early that I said earlier, then you can be in for a bit of a tough time with him. So for that reason, we're going to have to place him at 5. Coming in at number 4, and probably the easiest to use character in the game, slots into any team, is just ridiculously easy to use, and that's going to be none other than Captain America. You could actually get away with taking away 90% of his kit and he would still work, as long as he has these 2 cards right here. The best defense and dig in. This is going to allow you to get a lot of block, it's going to allow you to taunt everyone that's focusing on another character, and if you mod them like I have here with counter, it means that every time someone attacks you, you're going to hit them back. So you're going to have a lot of self-sustain, you're going to be doing a lot of damage, you're going to be taking all of the aggro so that your team doesn't have to, and also he has a few abilities that help him out with air effects as well, such as this one, Shield Bounce. Damage and taunt each enemy in a small area and apply weak. Overall, Cap is just very easy to use. I would class him as a proper plug and play character that would slot into any team and will free the rest of your team up so that they can do what they need to do. Perfect for taunts, holding aggro, and some nice CC. And he works in conjunction with a lot of the items you can get in the game, especially the ones like the Evil Eye Totem, which we'll go over a little bit later. Jumping over to 3, and we're going to be taking a look at Magik. Magik is very different to the rest of the heroes in the game. She has a lot going on in her kit that can help out your team. Her ability to spawn portals means that you can aim enemies at environmental objects, you can do a lot of damage with her, you're going to be creating them for free so it makes things a lot easier, and when they're upgraded you're going to be getting a move with this as well. Meaning lots of times you can just push them through with your standard move rather than actually using a card to do it. When I first played her at low levels I thought the portals seemed a bit gimmicky, and as I started leveling her up I realised just how strong a character she is. In fact, if you manage to combo them up and get things like this upgraded Limbo's Grasp, then every single time they go through a portal it's also going to do a nice bit of damage to them before they've even come out the other side and hit whatever you're aiming them at. There's literally no other hero that does anything like Magik can. And while she's not the highest damage hero that you're going to have on your team, she is probably one of the best at setting things up. And then her ultimate I think is probably one of the strongest ones in the game, and one of the coolest looking, and that's going to be your Darkchild. When you use this, not only are you invulnerable for the entire turn, you're also going to aggro everything on the map, they're going to come at you and you gain counter. Meaning that you're going to do a nice bit of damage to them, you cannot be hurt in the slightest no matter what happens, and a lot of times, again, even barring the damage, it's going to group the enemies up, meaning that you can take them out quite easily for the next turn over. Also, like I said earlier, Evil Eye Totem, If you pop this straight afterwards, much like when you're using Cap, this is going to mark all the enemies, and now when you beat them down, it means it's not going to cost you any plays. So you'll have a lot of fun on your next turn with your team. Jumping in at number 2, and we have the best support in the game by an absolute mile, and that's going to be the Sorcerer Supreme himself, Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange perk allows him to get a lot of heroism, more so than any other character, boasting a whole bunch of cards that can provide protection and aid your team. One of the best ones has to be Shield of Seraphim. Costing 3, this is going to apply resist to all of your teammates, as well as cure any ailments they've got. If however you use it as 6 heroism, then it's going to allow you to have resist for 2 turns. Doctor Strange has a lot of great cards in his arsenal, ranging from the Blessing of Vashanti that's going to help you by giving extra damage to the cards in your hand for the entire mission, all the way to what I think is probably one of the most broken cards in the game, and that's going to be Astral Meditation. Like I showed you earlier, combat items in this game are extremely powerful. Astral Meditation actually restores 2 of the combat items that you've used during this mission, as well as giving you 2 redraws. If you play your cards right, then you can use 2 items during that mission, and then use this, and you're going to get them back again. So it's classed as if you haven't actually used them. Remember, some items take up to 3 days or so to craft because they're that strong. This totally negates that, and you get to keep the items and use them again for the next mission, which in my opinion makes this one of the strongest cards in the game. However, number 1 spot 100% has to be this character right here, and that's going to be the Hunter. The Hunter has so many more cards than any other character. It's around about 3 times I believe. You can just put a much more varied deck together. Whether you want him to be light side, dark side, or a little bit of a balanced build, it honestly shouldn't matter, as he's got a lot of cards at his disposal that can absolutely decimate your enemies. Want him to be a healer? No problem, he'll probably be the best one in the game, giving you a lot of health back and allowing you to draw 2 cards. Want him to hit ridiculously hard? Then Merciless, as long as an enemy is stunned, is going to do some absolutely insane damage. Also, he boasts probably the strongest AoE damage card in the game, and that's Annihilation. Whereas Hulk does a lot of medium damage to a whole board, Annihilation does a very high amount of damage to a smaller area. So if you want a lot of medium to high enemies completely dwindled down, then Annihilation is going to be the best way to do it. Although you will probably be best served using the Dark Route for this card. Again, if you did want to use other cards, you can use things like Inspire, and if you want to use a card again, then Holy Gift is going to allow you to do that, so just play this card before you use the one you're after. The Hunter is just a very versatile, well-rounded character that you can kind of morph into any role you're after. But yeah, I'm sure you'll all have your own opinions. Let me know in the comments who you think should be top spot and who your favourite characters are currently. As always, for all the latest and greatest gaming, I'll see you all next day.